This is Philip Bergeron from Decide4Action, and today I thought I'd give you a brief overview of the different real-time screens available in the Production4Action SCADA application. So starting with the graphical line status, as the name implies, its purpose is to give you a snapshot overview of every machine on your production line or your machine shop floor. So this can either be a continuous line or a set of disjointed equipment, such as a CNC shop floor, for example. So each machine is represented by a card, and then the different metrics or KPIs available to that machine are placed within the card. So each one of these right now is displaying a status, as well as the mechanical efficiency, speed, a fault, if one can be captured automatically, such as this discharge fault over on the labeler. And then at the very bottom we have a number of undeclared stops, which are stops that the PLCs were not able to resolve and that an operator should define in more detail for reporting purposes. You can also set custom equipment or custom metrics. So whether that be a flow meter or a fill level. A good example is this accumulation table over here on the far right, which is reporting a fill level depending on how much product is on the accumulation table. Over at the top you have some different key metrics, so cases per hour as well as your utilization or performance. These do flash red or green depending on their relation to a target which is set up by the plant in the system. Over here around the filler and the capper, there is a red box which indicates that this is the machinery which has had the most downtime over the production day. Just give you a better idea of which machinery is causing the most issues on your production. So you can jump back and forth between your different lines depending on what you want to look at. So over here on this line, there's a different set of equipment which is drawn automatically based on what's defined in the system. Next up is the graphical plant status. So it's very similar to the graphical line status, except it shows you a little less detail, but all the lines at once, just to give you a very quick snapshot of the overall plant. Now you can hover over this and get the same KPIs and metrics available in the graphical plant status, but this just gives you just a quick overview. You can click on it to return to the graphical line status if you want to drill down. Operator Dashboard is a screen where you can drill down more deeply into the metrics on a machine-by-machine basis. So for example, over here we're looking at a labeler, and then over here in the header you'll see different KPIs that apply to this machine. Now this can be customized depending on what is important for you and your operation. Over here you have the number of undeclared stops for this machine, and then you can also click on this to go directly to the declaration page if you had any to declare. Over here you have the different stop reasons which caused you the most downtime for this machinery over the shift. Over here in the center left you have a time distribution which shows you all the different time buckets in which this machine spent time in. So it's a good way to quickly see a breakdown of how the machine ran overall. Over here on the right you've got your product case count over the hour, and then this also relates to a target which is set in the system. So you can quickly see hour by hour how you're keeping up with your targets that you've defined. You also get a machine speed trend over the shift, depending on if the machine can provide speeds or not. And then finally, you also get a timeline of the different states over time. So you can hover over them, get a little more detail, and then also click into them if you want to drill down further. Line status display is a summary overview of the overall line. So if you want to quickly see if you're on target or not, and then what the status of the line is, this is a great place to do that. So for example, over here you can see line 6, which is running at 91% performance. It's green because it's above the target, and then you're running at 900 bottles per minute. You have your status of your key machine, and then what your top offending machines are, which are the top machines which have caused you the most downtime. Over at the bottom, you get different secondary packages that you may be running, depending on if you're running a split palletizer or some other setup like that, as well as what sanitation or changeover that you did prior to this run. At the very bottom, you get a waterfall chart showing you the breakdown of where your performance loss actually came from. So it's a good way to quickly see if the lack of performance is due to either breakdowns or slow changeovers, or if you're running your line too slow, that kind of thing. For each one of these lines, you can drill down into the details and then really see the raw numbers that are being used to drive this analysis. So you have your different time buckets, as well as some various KPIs and counts collected by the system. Over in production counts, this gives you just a very quick summary of hour by hour what your case production was, as well as how many containers or cases you produced for either the current shift or the current run, and any combination thereof. Event log is used to see what the different operators declared, or the different status changes that occurred either due to your shift schedule. So it's a good way to see who declared different status changes, if you're having issues, or if the line has been placed out of production for a reason that you don't know. Finally, the Supervisor Dashboard is a quick overview of how your performance actually broke down. So you can see over here what your top breakdowns were, which affected your performance, as well as what your performance would have been if those had not occurred. And then this red line shows your target. Over on the right, you get some different KPIs, and then at the bottom you get another performance waterfall showing you overall if your performance loss was due to breakdowns, slow speed, rejects, that kind of thing. On the far left, you get the breakdown individual events. So it's a good way to see what easily preventable events could have salvaged your performance. So over here, for example, you get a major breakdown which costs you 3.7% of your performance. If you click on it, you can get a more detailed breakdown. So that's it for the real-time data. There's a couple different sub-menus and things like that, which we can go over in a future video. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out at decide4action.com. Thank you.